Dan Gordon will unleash the superhero in you. Over the next hour, Dan will challenge and inspire you to be the greatest version of yourself. Dan takes you into the minds of the world's most innovative thinkers, unlocking their secrets for living fearlessly and achieving massive personal success. So get ready for Shock to the System. Please welcome your host, the coach's coach, Dan Gordon.
Thank you so much. I am just so delighted to be here. And but before I get into this, I want to bottom line what the show is about right now. So you can decide if you really want to listen to this or not. So here's the truth. If you want something in life that you don't already have, you're going to have to feel afraid in order to get it. Right? So if you're listening because you're looking for an easy way to get the things without feeling uncomfortable, you are listening to the wrong fucking show. If instead, you see life as it truly is, an adventure with the ups and the downs and the failures and the meteoric rise, that's what I'm about. Life is meant to be experienced. If that's what you want, man, you're in for the ride of your life, and I'm going to help you with that. So turn this up, turn it off. I don't care, but let's get started. So this is Shock to the System. My name is Dan Gordon. I've been a business coach for 20 years, and I love helping to turn the lights on in people's eyes and their lives and their business and giving them an experience of life that most people don't have. So when I started launching this podcast, when I was talking to people about it, I said, hey, I'm launching this podcast. It's called Shock to the System. And the people I talked to are like, hey, Dan, that's a great title. What is it about? And I said, simply, it's about you. And they're like, me? You're making a podcast about me? I'm like, yeah. Who am I going to make a podcast about? Myself? Like, I'm me, and I wouldn't listen to that podcast. So this is a podcast that's about you. But more specifically, Shock to the System is about you and success. And even like in whatever way that you define success, right? So maybe success to a lot of people is having more money, being more satisfied, having more free time, getting married, getting laid, having anything that you want all the time. But even more specifically than that, Shock to the System is really, really about the gap that exists between you and success. And to explain that, I'm going to ask you a simple question. This is a question that I ask all of my clients, and that is, what do you want? What do you want? Like, is it fame, riches, fortune, power, sex? Like, what do you want? Just like think about it and shout it out right now. Just say it, right? So let me ask you a question about that. Why do you think you don't already have it? Now, when I ask my clients okay, I know what you want. Why do you think you have it? You don't have it. They do what you're doing right now, right? You're telling yourself a little story, aren't you? It's okay. We all do it, right? It's like masturbation. No one wants to talk about it. Goes on all the time. Now, your story is what keeps you from taking action on getting what you want. And I bet your story starts with one of these, right? I'm not ready yet. I don't know how to do that. I don't have the money. I'm not good at that. I don't have the time. I'm doing a little research right now, right? Or I'm just being lazy. Right? Sound familiar? So the insidious thing about the story is that it makes perfect sense, right? Now, it's not an excuse, right? People are all about no excuses, but your story isn't an excuse because an excuse is something where you know that you're lying, right? Hey, why are you late? Oh, traffic was really bad. Sorry. Like, that's an excuse. You know traffic wasn't bad. You were just screwing around with your computer and you didn't make it to work on time. Now, here's the really funny thing about the story, right? You believe the story. You think the story is true until you challenge it. And let me show you how to challenge your own story. Let's say that instead of this thing that you want, like losing weight, quitting smoking, being more successful in your business, let's say instead of the story of those things, that it was like a kidney. Like you needed a kidney to survive. Like suddenly, hey, Dan, you need a kidney. Well, I'm not ready yet. Right? I don't know how to have a new kidney. Oh, I don't have the money for a kidney, so I'm just going to die. right? I'm not good at getting a new kidney. I don't have the time to get a new kidney. Well, I'm going to do a little research, and maybe I can find another way to clean my blood without a kidney. Or, you know what, I'm just being lazy. Right? That's the reason I'm not getting a new kidney. Right? So you can see how quickly all of that breaks down. Right? And the last one about just being lazy, that's the most popular story of all. Now, you've said that, right? We've all said it. I'm just being lazy. But I got news. It's not that you're lazy. Because the fact that you're listening to the show means that you're not lazy. The fact that you're listening to Shock to the System means that you're somebody who takes action. Because I bet this isn't the first thing that you've done in your life to improve your life. I bet you've read books and listened to other podcasts and gone to seminars and listened to speakers. So you're not lazy. So if you're not lazy, then what are you? Well, the truth is that you're suffering from an addiction. And I'm not even kidding about this, right? Now, you're an addict and you're strung out. And let me tell you what you're addicted to. It's called dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical in the brain that is a human neurotransmitter. And its job, the job of dopamine, is to make us feel good. That's it. It transmits information that makes us feel good. And you're addicted to this, but it's not your fault because you were born addicted to dopamine. Like when you're a baby and you crap your diaper and you want it changed and you cry, it's because you feel uncomfortable. When you're hungry and you want a boobie or you want some love, right? You cry because it feels uncomfortable. The dopamine is signaling that it wants to be fed. Your brain wants dopamine. And what you forgot is that feeling bad is an essential part of existence, right? So like the pursuit of happiness in the Constitution should be changed to the pursuit of getting off your ass and doing the hard stuff that you don't want to do. So you're an addict. But like any addict, the first step is you got to admit that you have a problem. You got to dump your story and face your addiction. Why aren't you making more money? Why didn't you close that last deal? Why haven't you lost weight or gone to the gym? Why haven't you asked out that hot girl or that hot guy? Why didn't you ask the boss for a raise? Because you're lazy? You're not ready? No, you're an addict. You want to feel good. All those things make you feel bad. But everything you want lives on the other side of the gap of feeling bad. So, Nike has this saying, right? Just do it. Just do it, right? But the reason that just do it doesn't work is because it's not sustainable, right? Like you can force yourself to do something. You can like browbeat yourself and shame yourself and, like go running, a few miles in the morning. But the reason that it doesn't sustain is because your body, your psyche cannot take constant abuse. So just do it breaks down. You can force yourself to do something today and tomorrow, but what about the next day and the next day and the next day after that? I see this all the time with my clients. Right? It's like, oh God, Dan, you got to hold me accountable, right? I just got to break out of this. Like, no, you actually have to be a little nicer to yourself. And the truth is, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a process or a system about consistently being successful and going after what you want, you will fail. Goals are not enough. Enthusiasm is not enough. Willpower is definitely not enough. You have to have a plan, a way to step into the things that you struggle with and be consistent with it. It's what I tell my clients all the time. Process for addressing your addiction to feeling good and moving through it to sobriety and discomfort. So for the show today, rather than bringing someone who's made a lot of money and spouts a lot of stuff about, oh, I did it so you can do it, you just got to push through it, right? It made a lot of sense to talk to someone who's an addict, kicked an addiction, and then kicked life's ass. So before I introduce my guest, if all this has made sense to you so far, I want to give you something, right? Because I want to give you something that I think will be really helpful for you. It's my blueprint for getting what you want. And it's called Jumping the Gap, Your Story Kill your story and take action. Jumping the gap, kill your story and take action. It's something I usually only give to my clients, but I want to help you kill your story. And this will help you do just that. So in order to get this, just text me at my cell phone, 213-409-8366, 213-409-8366, and just text the word GAP, G-A-P. Text the word GAP to 213-409-8366, and you'll get Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story, and Take Action. So enough about me and my stuff and me talking. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. I am just so excited to have my guest. I'm my first guest on Zoom. I am delighted and honored to be introducing Lucy Hall. Lucy is the founder and CEO of Mary Hall Freedom House. And since 1996, Lucy has helped over 10,000 women and children break their addiction to poverty, to homelessness, to drugs, and even more so break their addiction from the internal story that says, I can't. Lucy is the subject of a new documentary called Hope Village, which was produced by my other guest, who I will introduce in just a minute. You're going to want to listen to what Lucy has to say, because she's going to tell you how she's helped all these people and help break their addiction, get past their story, and live really fulfilling lives. And let's be clear, their stories are probably a lot bigger than yours or mine. So if she can help those people, Lucy is going to have some really unique insight to helping you. Lucy, welcome to Shock to the System. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dan, for having me.
It is a pleasure. So, Lucy, if you just hold on a moment, I got to introduce this wonderful man to my right, RiKarlo. RiKarlo Handy is a superstar in the entertainment world here in LA. He started working in the film industry at 14 years old. He started working at 14. Like, that's amazing. Clearly, RiKarlo didn't have a story that said, I'm too young, right? So by 18, RiKarlo was directing music videos, commercials, films. He's done it all. So why is RiKarlo here? Because he knows firsthand about addiction in a different way than Lucy does. And also because, like Lucy, RiKarlo found a higher calling than just cranking out entertainment. With his company, Sunwise Media, RiKarlo makes films that inspire social change with stories about people who do amazing things in the world. And so RiKarlo has made the documentary that is the subject of Lucy and her story, Hope Village. And it's about Lucy creating the Mary Hall Freedom House and serving all these people. RiKarlo has won more awards than we have time for. We just have to do a podcast called RiKarlo's Awards to go through them all. But RiKarlo, welcome to Shock to the System.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So I watched the documentary Hope Village last night, and I'm not ashamed to say I was crying through it. It was just so touching and amazing. And I can't wait to read your book, Lucy, Hope Dealers. Before we jump in, I just want you to know this might be a little bit of a different kind of interview. Because I want to focus on addiction as being something we all suffer with. And it's something that we all experience. And addiction isn't just those people. You know, watching the documentary, I mean, that was really helpful because there's some high achievers on that show. Like, they're just not those people. They aren't lazy people who are like, well, you know, I can either watch Tiger King or shoot heroin, so that's what I'm going to do, right? You know, like, it wasn't that. Every one of us is an addict. We're all addicted to something. And that understanding addiction is the key, and breaking our addictions is the key to jumping that gap, moving through the things that are difficult, and finding the success that we're seeking. So is it okay with both of you if we talk about addiction, about the road to prosperity? Can we do that?
Cool.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. So first, Lucy, would you give the audience just the basics of your story, like where you started, what happened, and how you created this masterpiece of the Mary Hall Freedom House?
Absolutely. Again, Dan, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
First and foremost, my name is Lucy Hall, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means, it's been 30 years since I've had the need to use any mind or mood-altering substance. And as a result of that, I am a child of God, a successful woman, a mother, a sister, a friend, an entrepreneur, all those things that make life happen and make life joyful. I have been a person who has been able to be happy, joyous, and free for the past 30 years and will remain that way.
Mm.
But my story is such where when God set me free, he said, now go back and get others. It wasn't just about me. I think, like you, the success of life is do what you do best. We're all here for a purpose. And so my purpose was, as a result of seeing addiction take my mother's life and two of my brother's lives, it was important for me when I found the way out of that darkness was to then show other people. And even today, by the movie Hope Village and the book Hope Dealer, it is my goal and intent to help other people realize recovery is possible. And to your point, everybody's addicted to something. Everybody knows what it's hard like to come back from something difficult. So we're all in recovery or we're still in the addiction. And I like to tell people, if you are in denial, you're in the addiction. If you're in recovery, it's because you know what it took to come back from something difficult. And now you just keep it moving, living on purpose and living life out loud. And
Beautiful.
so that's what I've been able to do with my hardships in life, turn them into advancement and then helping others learn what I learned to be free.
That's good. Thank you. And by the way, Lucy's website is hopevillageproject.com. On that, you can watch her movie, you can buy her book, you can learn all about the Mary Hall project that she does. RiKarlo, essentially same question. Where did you start? What happened? And how did you create this masterpiece called Hope Village?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I came to it a whole different pathway. I've always been interested in telling stories, and that's been my gift, for a long time. But this story, I think, was the first time I had a story that was like, no matter if anyone agrees with me, no matter if I can sell it or make it turn a nickel into a dollar, I'm gonna just make it happen because it's an important message for the world. And so luckily for me, when I was in my situation with my father, and you'll learn in the film, I had to lean on Lucy, to understand this process. I think that one of the things that I think, just kind of relating back to, the whole I can't story, that was kind of for me, and this was one of the first challenges I had in life where I didn't know what to do. Like I couldn't Google my way out of it. I couldn't figure it out. You know what I mean? Like as far as here's my dad. He's deep in an addiction, and I want to save his life, but I don't know how to do it. And so I leaned on Lucy during that time, and that's ultimately was the reason why the film got made.
So I want to point out something that you just talked about because. Look, you're a high achiever. Mm-hmm. Any person that starts in the entertainment business at 14 is a high achiever. It's in your blood. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my clients are high achievers. And the things that high achievers struggle with is when they don't feel in control.
Right.
When you can't solve a problem with your mind, it is terribly disorienting.
Yeah.
Because you have been able to figure out everything. And when you can't, it's your mind kind of turns in on itself. And I've seen this happen with successful people over and over again. They start attacking themselves. Like, why can't I figure this out? Like, why can't I push through it? Like you said, I can't Google it.
Right.
So can you give me just a brief synopsis of how you handled this struggle of I cannot do this on my own. I can't will through it. How did you surrender to the fact that you couldn't figure it out?
I think that what I surrendered to was that it wasn't going to be fixed right away. That was the first thing I had to surrender to. Because I think I was trying to find a quick fix. And
most high achievers do.
and what I had to surrender to was in real life, I had to let my dad sit in a place that he was uncomfortable for a long time while we let the system work, and found out about different places we could get help and opportunities. And it just took a lot of time to let things happen.
So that was you taking action
Yeah.
and reaching out for help.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So what you realize is that you couldn't do it on your own.
Right.
And the next logical step was to see who could help you.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's a tremendous amount of surrender there.
Yes.
Right. And that was probably not an easy thing.
No.
Great. Thank you. So, Lucy, I got a
Yes,
million
sir.
questions for you, but the thing that really struck me while I was watching the documentary and I was taking fierce notes, what is it that most people don't know about the addict? And I'm not talking about addiction, but what don't people know about the addict?
I think the biggest thing is that nobody wants to be an addict, Dan. It's like I didn't grow up and say, oh yeah, by the time I'm 18, I'm gonna be smoking crack, or I want to be a crackhead when I grow up. Nobody wants to be an addict. Even as you said to your audience today, they don't even want to identify as an addict because we've made it such a bad thing to be.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that people must realize is that addiction is what it is. We're all addicted to something, whether it's caffeine, whether it's chocolate, whether it's sex, whether it's gambling. You might want to say like the sin starts off small and it gets up to murder, or it's petty crime versus a felony. But nonetheless, we are all addicted to something. And when we realize there is freedom and liberty in just being honest, which is the first step.
Yeah,
Which is the first step. Most people don't know that either. The first step is we admit that we need help. Like RiKarlo said, I admitted that I don't have the solution. And so this is greater than me and it's going to take something greater than me. So I think that's one of the things, actually two things people don't realize is one, nobody wants to be an addict. And two, the first step to recognizing it is honesty.
Yeah. Like, as an addict, your best thinking is the worst thing to do. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. And I'll get a little laugh from RiKarlo here, right? And so it's like, and it's even more troublesome if you've been successful in life because your best thinking has worked perfectly, right?
Exactly.
But it's sort of like you're flying an airplane and suddenly it turns into a rocket ship, right? And suddenly I don't know how to operate any of these controls, right? This thing that has been working is no longer working.
Exactly.
Right? And so what is in the addict's heart? What does the addict desire?
Connection. I think every addict needs and desires connection. When you said in the beginning of your show, what's that one thing we all want? Think about it right now. What's that one thing we all want? For me, I said love. Because you can't get enough of that.
Yeah.
You just can't get enough of that. And so I'm a person who leads with it because I need it. Okay. So I always say, give that thing you need. If you need to be connected to people, then go connect with people. If you need love, then, before this pandemic, I used to hug everybody. When I first met somebody, I would hug them. And twice in life, I've had two people step back from the hug, but more often than not, no matter who I was meeting, whether they were rich or poor, they always wanted to hug. There was nothing wrong with it. The two people who backed up, I didn't want to hug them anyway.
Okay. So so what is it for, heroin addicts and entrepreneurs alike? What stops them from getting help?
I think the thing that stops people from getting help is ignorance, meaning lack of knowledge that help is available. That's another reason why this documentary and this book is so important, because I know wisdom is power. Knowledge is power to people. Just like the entrepreneur, when they figure it out, it's powerful.
Yeah.
And so knowledge is power. And I think the heroin addict as well as the entrepreneur both want knowledge. We need the knowledge to know we can do it, because that then unlocks the door to power.
Yeah, and I would add to that they probably think they can do it on their own, right? If I just apply a little more pressure, put a little more effort into it, like if I stop being lazy, right, then I can knock this thing out. And so how do you get people to go from I can do this to I cannot do it and I need help? because everybody listening to this right now believes they can do it on their own. Right? Every person that I want to help who says, let me think about it, I know has the belief that they can do it on their own, and they can't. How do you move people from I can do it on my own to I need help?
Well, I often say to people, because of course your loved ones want you to get help in recovery more than usually the person who needs recovery does. I get calls from parents all the time or loved ones all the time about my loved one, my daughter, my son, my brother, my sister, wanting to know what to do. And I have a saying, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, call me.
But how do people know when they're sick and how do you get people to the point where they're like, okay, I'm sick and tired now?
I call it the language of recovery. And we do a whole training on that, the language of recovery. And it's this, the conversation goes something like this. So how well is that working for you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's working really well, 1 being it's not working at all, where are you? And usually people will say, well, I'm a 4. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, a 4. So how do we move to a 5? Yeah. What did you do to get to a 4? So again, it's motivational interviewing in the context of helping people realize that they can do more, not looking at how bad things are, but let's look at how to gain more. And everybody wants to gain more. And so it's really keeping people in the positive rather than focusing on your bad side, your negative. Right, I don't ever ask people coming in the door, how you doing? Because then they want to jump in the hold of poor me. I don't want to know that. I'll ask them a question of, hey, really glad you made that decision to turn your life over. How can we help you? And well, I don't know. Well, tell me a little bit about how it was working for you. And that will be the conversation that leads us in the path of success.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, immediately as I started watching the movie last night, I was captivated. Can I share what I saw in the first 3 minutes of the movie?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, you're 6 years old, and your mom dies. From what?
Alcoholism.
Okay.
Cirrhosis of the liver.
Right. Then your brother Larry dies the day before he graduates from high school. What did Larry die from?
Hepatitis, which was dirty needles.
Then your brother Steve dies from what?
Overdose from heroin.
Then your aunt dies from what?
Alcoholism.
Then your grandmother dies from what?
I really don't know, but I believe it was the same.
Okay.
But there were a lot of people who died by the age of 13, as you just listed.
So why not you? I mean it, Lucy. Why are you still alive? Like, it doesn't make sense, Right. And and I'm not trying to be funny here, but I know things are generational, right? Hurt people hurt people. Battered kids become battering parents. People who grow up in entertainment families tend to get into entertainment. People who grow up in military families tend to get into military. People who grow up in addicted families tend to die. How did you not die?
God had another plan. I really, I cannot give credit to Lucy doing and knowing anything other than by the grace of God, he had another plan for my life. And when I recognized that there was a solution, I got into the solution. That's why I want to hold up recovery in this world. I don't think many people out there in addiction even know recovery is possible. And that's why I want my life to be an example. That's why I think I've been successful in helping over 10, now 15,000 women recover, because they look at me as an example. They realize that, okay, if she can, I can.
Okay, so hold on. Wait, Lucy, I've got to push back on this a little bit.
Come on with it.
It's beautiful. I believe that God intervened in a huge way, but something else happened. Something happened between, because you were using, right? In a big way, like crack, right?
Yeah.
And look, I've never done crack, but it's got to be great if people are using it, right? And so there was something that said to you, I got to stop doing this. Like, you had to take the first step. And this is really important, Lucy, because this is the first step that entrepreneurs do not take. Like, they're like, correct, man, I want to make more money. I want to be more successful. I want to have this. It's just not working, right? Because they're lost in their addiction. you were lost in your addiction. What happened? What was the spark?
You have the right to remain silent. I'm serious. I am dead doggone serious.
I would like to add to this,
when they told me
though.
you had the right to remain silent for this woman, I couldn't imagine you taking my freedom. I can't imagine you. I just couldn't imagine being locked up. For me, that was the bottom. You know, everybody has a bottom in some form of fashion, Dan. You know, like I know, some people, it may be a car accident, vehicular homicide, or they may be in a, you know, just different things generate different people coming to that realization, the loss of a relationship, their marriage, the loss of their children, the loss of, you know, it could be a plethora of things that you got to hit. Even to the entrepreneur, you got to hit a wall, then you're going to hit a wall. Some of us, though, don't need to hit a wall to realize I'm going down the wrong aisle or wrong lane. So for me, though, in all honesty, it was, you have the right to remain silent.
So it was,
you saw in the movie. When I got to the PO and she asked me what I wanted to do about it, I said, "What can I do about it?"
Right. Right. So something happened in your head that said, "Wait a second, there could be a different way of living," right? Okay. That's the thing that's really key. And that's what I want to bring to my audience right now. Something happened. Something's going to happen. It's probably already happened, and it's going to happen again, that says there is a different way of living. And this different way of living is going to be difficult. It's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar, but I'm curious enough about it to try to begin to make a shift. RiKarlo, I so appreciate you're just sitting here. You got your hands over your mouth, but you're ready to explode. Please share.
Well, no, I'm just hearing you and hearing Lucy. I know that there's that motivation inside of us that for Lucy, I really do believe it also had to do with her daughter. I know for some entrepreneurs and for me myself, like, you know, yeah, making money is important, but you need to have a little bit something more to motivate you to want to be massively successful at anything. You know what I mean? Like, if you just wanted to get your bills paid, that's not going to be a bit motivation enough to build a big business. Like, but if you want to, you know, send your kids to college, or, you know, you have all these big dreams and goals, you want to prevent, you know, a loss of your home or whatever, like whatever that thing that motivates you inside. I think for Lucy, it was also her daughter. You know what I mean? It was her daughter, Mary, you know, knowing that, okay, if I don't come through this, it's not just going to affect me anymore. It's going to affect my child.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
And here's the really interesting thing about wants and about addiction. Mm-hmm. When you get what you want, it never seems quite right. Right? Because that thing that you thought that dopamine was telling you this is going to bring me happiness doesn't. But what it does is it opens up a whole different way of thinking and living, and makes you realize that you have a capability of living your life exactly as you want it. Yeah. So let me give you, let me throw this to Lucy. I would guess that you thought that the crack was the problem. And I would guess that when you got off it, or when people get clean, they start to realize, oh, wait a second, that actually wasn't the problem. That was just masking the problem. And that now that you're clean, now you actually get to work on the problem. Would you say that's accurate?
I would, definitely. Okay. Absolutely.
So, you know, like success, like, oh, if I can just have more money, if I can stop worrying about paying my bills, everything will be fine, right?
Right.
You know, like, look at the amount of plastic surgery that goes on in this town, right? Like, okay, you know, if my boobs are bigger, if my butt is perfect, right? If I have, like, everything's going to be fine. And then they get it, right? And they don't. And it's like, oh, wait a second, that's not it.
Right.
Right. So what was the thing for you, RiKarlo? Mm-hmm. Like when, you know, you started at 14, you were hitting it hard, and then suddenly, or maybe it just like creeped in over a period of time, like, wait a second, maybe this just abject success isn't completely yet. Like, because you started, you know, I researched Sunwise Media, and this is about creating stories that touch and inspire people to change their lives and evolve. Like, that does not sound like the usual meteoric rise to success.
Yeah.
Why did you get into that?
Well, you know, like you said, I've been in the business of entertainment my whole life, and I've been able to do a lot of different jobs or have a lot of different successes. And every time I reached one of those pinnacles, I thought that's where I wanted to be. And when I got there, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And the reward wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So, like, for example, I've had the pleasure of creating television shows, right? Which is a dream of a lot of people, right? But really, what I found, what I wanted was not just to create something for me or have the pat on the back or the attaboy or the award, but I wanted to create some sustainable residual income for my family and create an impact on the world.
Why an impact? Why was it important?
Well, because the truth is, it's like no matter how much money you make in life or no matter how much success you make in life, that's not the thing that stays here when you're gone. The thing that stays at last, we don't remember Martin Luther King Jr. because he made a bunch of money, right? We remember him because he had an impact that continues to resonate. And I think that for me, I came to a realization was that, I could spend my life making a lot of money, but there's a reason why there's certain shows or certain projects I don't do. You know what I mean? Like I have kind of a standard of what I want to create in the world. You know what I mean? And if I have that standard of what I want to create in the world, then I should be figuring out a way to not only do that, but also make money doing it. And that's kind of that whole sacred commerce concept where if I'm going to spend my, 20 hours a day, 100 hours a week, working, you know what I mean? Let's let that time have some value when I'm gone.
So in that way, getting clean and making money are essentially the same thing in terms of a goal, right? That this is the thing that's going to solve my problems, right? If I can just get off the heroin or the crack or the alcohol, then all the problems are just going to go away, right? If I can just make enough money, right, then all the problems will go away. But both RiKarlo and Lucy, you have been in the position of recognizing that that's not the truth.
No.
And that's so important for my audience and the people that I work with, because they have to understand that this thing that you want is not going to give you a sustainable sense of enlightenment, right? A sustainable sense of feeling good and fulfilled.
And purpose.
Right. And purpose is key. So, Lucy, how do you infuse people who are just thinking, I just want to get clean, I want to get my kids back, I want to get a car, like all this stuff? How do you shift them from that to going after purpose?
One, again, sharing my experience, strength, and hope in the regard to helping people realize we all have a purpose. And usually it's what you're good at, what you would do even if you didn't get a paycheck. What RiKarlo just said, at the end of the day, I could have worked 10 hours, 12 hours today, and I loved every minute of it. Why? Because I knew at the end of the day that it had a purpose. It was helping people. I was moving Mary Hall Freedom House along to a greater purpose. Like, I came to St. Pete, I'm down in St. Pete, like I told you guys. And I thought I was just coming to chill out with my girlfriend. Got here and God said, no, you got another purpose in here. You got to work. And she'll tell you, I've been working every day a whole lot. And it's cool because I love it. But at the same time, I've changed my outlook in terms of I'm in a different geographical location. I'm with somebody who's near and dear to me. I have all of the sunshine and water around me. I'm even twice as motivated. So give me all the props along with the work, and you can get more work out of me. So it really is really helping people to realize what they're passionate about. I think that's important to recognize what you're passionate about, what your giftedness is. I'm an encourager like you, Dan, when you opened up. I love to encourage people. I love to help people tap into their purpose in life. I'm a hope dealer. I got my bracelet on. I tell people every day I went from a dope dealer to a hope dealer. Why? Because that's what I am.
Lucy, just as a tangent, you said something in the documentary I thought was just great. What is tore up from the floor up? I know I sound incredibly white when I say that, and my apologies. What does that mean? I want to put that into my lexicon.
Okay.
Tell me how to use that.
Okay. So when people walk in thinking they got it going on, and you look at them and you know doggone well they are tore up from the floor up, meaning you a hot mess. You're a hot
Yeah.
mess. You thinking you all that, when people are sitting there BSing you and you know it. You know it. It's like that's when you gotta call them to the carpet. It's like, baby girl, you here because you tore up from the floor up. And let's get real with that. And I don't care how much money you have or where you come from, you still are here because you can't stop shooting heroin, you can't stop smoking dope, you can't stop drinking alcohol, you can't stop lying, you can't keep a job, you gotta use to live and live to use. So
Yeah.
let's get real. That's tore up from the floor, Dan.
So I love that. I'm gonna have to call you offline and work with you on that so I can say it in the right way because clearly I'm not even close.
Yeah, Dan is referring to a piece in the movie. It's a hilarious moment.
Yeah, it's great. No spoilers here, but there's so much in that movie. And look, Lucy and RiKarlo, they're not here for their health. They're not here just to support me. They have an incredible documentary that they want to talk about. And Lucy has an incredible foundation, the Mary Hall Freedom House. And so I want you guys to talk about what this is that you've done. And have at it.
Yeah, I'll just jump in and just share, first of all, thank you for having us, Dan. I mean, this is a great conversation to have because I do think it's important for people to know about recovery and how it relates to their life. Because for me, which is why we made this documentary, I never thought of addiction or any of this as my problem or anything I had to think about. And so when it hit my life personally and I didn't know what to do, I didn't feel like there was any resources out there. I couldn't Google my way out of it, like I said before. And so that's what this film is. It's a resource. It's a tool. It is a great story. As Dan shared, it's entertaining. I come from television, so it's something that's going to keep your attention and be entertaining. But as well, you can watch it and really glean some information from it on not only how you can help a loved one if that's an issue that they struggle with, help yourself if that's an issue you struggle with, or relate some of the tools that Lucy talks about to your life in anything, because we're all gonna need to recover from a lot of different things, during this time period now, whether it's the economy or just relationships
or just or frame of mind.
Yeah, all of it. Depression. Alcohol sales are through the roof now.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone nothing else to do. So this is it turned out to be a super timely project. You know what I mean? So the book is Lucy's memoir. That also each chapter is dedicated to actually answering a question that people have.
Hope Dealer,
Hope Dealer, a complete guide from rehab to recovery, and then the film. But yes, you can go to our website, hopevillageproject.com. You can follow us on social media at Hope Village Project on Instagram, Facebook. And you can get the film on all platforms, Amazon, Google Play, or iTunes. And you can, go ahead and watch it, check it out for yourself. And I think it's a project that is powerful no matter where you are in life.
Right. Yeah. And look, the easiest way to find it is just go to hopevillageproject.com. It's right there. You can watch the movie. You can buy the book. And look, I'll be honest. I don't like documentaries. Like my girlfriend loves watching documentaries. She's, I'm like, hey, what do you want to watch? She's like, oh, let's watch a documentary. Like, well, let me ask you this: Does the documentary have spaceships, explosions, and lasers? Right? And if it doesn't, I don't want to watch it. Right? But I honestly watch this because I wanted to be prepared for our show. But it didn't take long. Like I said, the first 3 minutes of the documentary hooked me. Right? Very good. And it's a very compelling story, and so I encourage everybody to watch this. It's just a great story. It's not really about addiction. It is really about people, and it's about you, right? It's what this show is about. It's about you, and it is about how you go into the things that you struggle with, and then come back out of them again, a greater version of yourself.
Yeah.
And Lucy, that's what I see you creating. I see you creating hope, right? And hope is the most important thing because I have to hope that there's a greater version of myself out there, or I'm not going to try to go for it. Look, I mean, I'm probably the lowest rung of an addict. Like I'm a food addict. I go to Overeaters Anonymous. Like I have the easiest addiction, right? But it's also it's also rough. But I get this sense of, well, I can handle this. I can just go on a diet, right? But the truth is, I just keep going on diets and gaining weight, right? Until I surrendered to the fact that I cannot do this on my own, right? And nobody out there, whatever it is that you want, you cannot do it on your own. Your best thinking is not helping you. And that's what Lucy and RiKarlo have created in both the program, the Mary Hall Freedom House, and in the movie, and both of you have done an incredible service in my heritage. We call it a mitzvah, a good deed. You guys have a special gift for my audience, for everybody who is listening. It's their guide to recovery. It's called The Art of Bouncing Back. 5 critical tips to stage a personal comeback in life, business, and broken relationships. The Art of Bouncing Back, 5 critical tips to stage a personal comeback in life, business, and broken relationships. I can't wait to read this. I'm going to read this and then share it with my clients and tell them I thought it up myself. So to get The Art of Bouncing Back, just send a text to my phone, same number as before, 213-409-8366, and text the word HOPE, HOPE, HOPE. Text HOPE to 213-409-8366, and also text the word GAP, GAP, to that same number, and you'll get my blueprint, Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story, and Take Action. Thank you both so much for being here. Thank you for giving me the time, and thank you for giving me your attention. And in a larger sense, thank you for being who you are in the world. You didn't have to do what you did, right? Lucy, you didn't have to recover. And then once you recovered, you didn't have to go out there and help other people, right? You could have just kept your recovery on your own. RiKarlo, you could have just kept your meteoric rise to fame and fortune, but instead you decided to create something to help other people. And this is, look, I was drag kicking and screaming to helping other people. I am the most self-involved person you'll ever, I'll get my girlfriend on the phone right now. She will back that up. But what I have found is that being in service is the ultimate in feeling fulfilled in life.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
once you have the money, once you clean yourself up, if it's only you, it is an empty existence.
Yeah.
You know, and this is coming from a guy who did not believe that. And so, last words before we wrap.
Yeah, I think just in listening to everything that we've talked about, there's one word that kind of came to mind to kind of wrap everything up is accountability. You know what I mean? If you're only accountable to yourself, you know, it's going to be hard to really grow, right? But the more people that you're accountable to and the more you are sharing about what you want to create and getting that help from your community, your family, you know, I think the greater your goals and the easier they'll be to accomplish because you'll have a tribe and community that's holding you accountable.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is tough to reach out for help because we have this concept in America of the self-made person, right? The person who forged it out on their own, right? And nothing great was ever created alone.
No.
Nothing great. You know, like, who do we got? We got the Wright brothers.
Right.
You know, we got Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs that created Apple.
Right,
we have Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. You know,
Right.
we have Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, right? We have all, like, nothing great was ever created alone. Like, you need help. You know, like, go to a 12-step meeting, get a coach, get a mentor.
Right.
You know, do something,
Right.
but reach out
A
and say, help
connection.
me.
Yeah.
Lucy, last words, please.
Yeah, so in me closing, one, I would want to say, like I'm a hope dealer. So in this day and age, I really want people to know to stay hopeful, you know, and stay connected because we all need to be connected to one another. So be hopeful, stay connected. And you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We all struggle in this pandemic with our own mental health, you know, how to stay hopeful, how to stay healthy, you know, and like you said, Dan, I love that. That's my pastor's tagline is be helpful, all 3 of those. And it's so real. As we help others, we in turn receive so much help that we need, because, we all need one another. So, staying hopeful. It's Mental Health Month in May. Take care of your own self, to thine own self be true.
Mm-hmm.
But also know that, you're not alone. You weren't created to be alone.
No.
And I'm grateful to you, Dan, for having us today. And I wish everybody well. Stay hopeful, watch the movie, get the book, and become a hope dealer. Like I said, you can get your T-shirt and your bracelet if you get all the products. Be a hope dealer. Join me in that.
Yeah, that's Hope Village Project. So what have we learned? We've said it all. We've covered everything. We've solved all the problems of the world. What have we learned? We've learned to set a vision for yourself, and let's just call that hope, right? In the entrepreneurial world, we tend to call that goals, but I call it a vision. I refer to it as the Emerald City, right? This thing that lives out there just beyond, grasp, and this thing that you head towards. And you're always heading towards it. And you go through the trials, right? The flying monkeys and the trees and and all the other difficulties as you're heading towards this Emerald City, this vision of yourself as a greater being, as a more fulfilled person. And you just keep heading towards it. And you're going to struggle, right? There's always going to be a struggle. There's always going to be people saying no. There's always going to be someone who says it can't be done. Right? And there's going to be a million reasons to quit. And the reasons are going to make sense. And you're going to fall down. And when you fall down and when there's snot and tears on the carpet, it's not about kicking yourself in the ass and getting back up. It's about being kind. It's about saying, I am struggling. I need help. I can't do this on my own. I'm going to hold that vision and I'm going to reach out. And so if we've learned anything, it is asking for help is key. And like you said, we were not meant to do this alone. We were meant to be in community. It is in our DNA. And so to move through your addiction, whatever it is that you are addicted to, and probably for most of us, it's just wanting to feel good. It's not about kicking yourself in the ass. It's about reaching out and saying, help me. I want to thank the two of you. I want to thank my sponsors who believe in shock to the system and support what we're doing here. And I want to tell you a little bit about our next show. So for our next show, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be super rich? I mean, just like having so much money, you can just buy whatever you want whenever you want it. Like, have you ever wondered what it would be like to never say, I can't afford that? Like, what is that like? And more importantly, how do those people think? Like, what's the mental process that brought them to that wealth? Well, you're going to be really surprised when you find out how people like that think. And that's, and you're going to be really, and you're going to be even more surprised to discover that actually you can think that way too. My next guest is a man named John Shin, and John is the author of the book, How Rich Asians Think. And he's the producer of the movie Think and Grow Rich. Now, John is the only person who was allowed to make that movie by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And if you don't know who Napoleon Hill is, you better listen to the next show. John is a good friend, he's a mentor, and we're super lucky that he's agreed to share his knowledge and his experience with us. And he is the next guest on Shock to the System. You're definitely going to want to listen to that one. Once again, to get Lucy and RiKarlo's book, The Art of Bouncing Back, 5 critical tips to stage a personal comeback in life, business, and broken relationships, text the word HOPE to my phone, 213-409-8366, HOPE, H-O-P-E, 213-409-8366. And while you're at it, to that number, also text the word GAP, G-A-P, and you'll get Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story, and Take Action. My name is Dan Gordon. You're listening to Shock to the System. Thank you so much for taking the time and the thought to give yourself the boost to live the life that you want to live, living life unlimited. I'll see you next time.